It's now time to assemble the roof vent. So first thing to do is to lay out your parts for the roof vent. Just unpack your bundle of this part and place it on a work table. If you have a workbench, do a great job. Make sure you dispose all the parts and you can work more easily assembling the roof vents. It's very easy. Make sure not to disassemble some of the rail, some of the aluminum extrusions that are already assembled. You don't want to slide them off. You might not be able to put them back together in the proper order. So don't get into trouble. Don't disassemble these parts. Once you have laid out all your parts, let me show you how you assemble these parts to make the roof vent. Remember to install the foam tape in all the proper channels. To insert the bolt in the glazing bar, you insert it one on each end. You need also to insert two bolts into the middle section of the roof vent. This glazing bar needs also two bolts to insert in it. The most important thing to look for when you're selling the roof vent, it's important to install the notch part of the extrusion of the glass bar into the hinges of the roof vent. Okay, the other side is a nut notch. There's no notch in the extrusion, so this part goes to the gutter side and the notch part goes to the hinge part. Don't lose the bolt while assembling it. So remember, when you assemble the gutter, the notch part here for the bolt goes inside the greenhouse, so at the bottom of the assembly, here like the H assemble or quite like a Z or I don't know, goes up of the roof vent assembly. And for the roof vent hinges, okay, so this kind of S part is the top of the assembly. The notch part here where the bolts goes down is the inside part of the greenhouse. So now you're ready to assemble everything. Don't tight the bolt too tight for now. We will tighten everything up later. A little tip, if you already pre-screw your bolt here with a nut, it will be easier to assemble afterward. Just have to insert and then just a little bit of tightness, just tighten it a little bit, it will fit. You can push that here, okay. There we go. Now, I need to make sure that all the glazing bars are perfectly enter as deep as you can. Then you can insert the gutter. If you want to have more fun or you want to make it easier, you can reverse the assembly on the other side. Just time to fix everything up. It will help you. Once again, it's important to make sure all the parts are perfectly aligned and insert at the deepest you can. As deep as you can. Just let's tighten this just a little bit. Okay, now let's put it back on the proper side. Now, as you can see, it's not perfectly square, but it's going to take place when we are ready to put the polycarbonate on. It's important that if you notice some aluminum residue to remove it, just to make sure you don't scratch anything or scratch your paint, scratch the polycarbonate, or even hurt yourself. So just remove it, throw it away. Now we remove, it's time to peel the brown paper. So the wax paper that protects the foam tape, you now remove it. Take you 2 small parts of polycarbonate sheet that are left. Remember, we did the same thing when we were glazing the roof of the greenhouse. You have a blue side film and a clear side. The blue side is the side that is UV protected. So this side goes up, this goes outside the greenhouse. If you put the blue film inside the greenhouse and the clear film outside, your polycarbonate won't be protected against the UV ray of the sun, and it will age faster, and we'll have to change it. To secure the glazing cap, use the number 8, 5 and 8 inch screw that are provided in the roof vent bundle. You need to make sure that your glazing cap is properly secure and down to the gutter, perfectly aligned. Then you can secure your screw on each bar. Great. So now we're done. You have great roof vent, but we're not perfectly finished. Before you finish your assembly, you need to install 2 number 8 3/4 inch screw here in the gutter, just on both sides. You also need to insert the 2 inch screw number 8 in both sides of the hinge to secure our roof vent. Final step is to apply the sealant, the Pro Glaze. We're going to seal the roof vent before we install it on top of the greenhouse. So for the Pro Glaze, this is how you do it. So for the tip, you just cut a little part on top of it to help you have a 45 degree angle to help you apply the Pro Glaze. Don't make a big hole. You will have a lot of difficulty to apply the Pro Glaze without any problem. So it's best to make a smaller hole, and if it don't work, you just make it bigger after. It's easier to make it bigger than make it smaller. So you just make a little small seal here between the polycarbonate and the hinge. You can seal again here on top of the molding here, but it's not necessary because it doesn't communicate with the greenhouse. And then we do another seal here on top. Now we make another seal here between the polycarbonate panel and the H channel. And the last one is here on the bottom, just between the H channel and the gutter. We do the same thing. Okay, so now we're done with the silicone sealant, the Pro Glaze. If you want, you can apply just a gently touch of your finger with soapy water to make sure you have a tight seal. You need to check, make sure you have a tight seal after that. As you can see here, it's not perfect. I'm gonna put another coat. It was too small. You need a tight seal. So you need to make sure that Pro Glaze stick everywhere. You have enough. Here I didn't put enough. This was not enough pressure, so I'm gonna put another coat to make sure everything is tight seal. There you go. We're done for the roof vent. So let's go put it on top. To install the roof vent on your greenhouse is a pretty straightforward operation. Just need to remove one of the screws that are on the ridge, and we're going to be able to slide the vent assembly just perfectly into its position, and then we're going to be able to install the opener. Don't forget to put back the screw when you have installed the roof vent. If the roof vent sealant that you apply on your roof vent is not dry yet, make sure not to touch it. You will get all sticky and ruin everything you did. So you need to make sure you manipulate the roof vent properly. Now you will insert the roof vent with this notch here, this kind of a S form, or maybe a C, I don't know, it's more a C or D, I don't know which kind of letter I could refer to. But you will insert this part into the corresponding part at the ridge. This will make the hinges for the roof vent. So you go slowly, you don't want to ruin the painting, and you just slide the roof vent slowly, gently to its position, making sure you don't touch the sealant. Make sure you position the vent properly into its position. You might have to raise it a little bit and push it in place. Make sure you're perfectly aligned and perfectly in position. And if you're better job done by two people, you can have one inside the greenhouse, making sure everything set properly, and the other one pushing it in. And then we put back the screw that we removed before into his hole to make sure the roof vent doesn't get off. Okay, now to install the roof vent opener, the MK7 by Bayliss, you first need to place it in a cool place. You can ideally place it in your refrigerator for 30 minutes to make sure it's cool and it's at its closest form. After you take out the Bayliss MK7 from the refrigerator, you need to re-enter the rod here into the piston by pressing on a flat surface. Let's do it. Okay, after that, you take the knob here. This is the control knob that will allow you to control the opening of the vent, the dimension of the opening, so the size, the angle of the opening. So you screw it on over the rod here. We'll be able to adjust later. So now, in the Bayliss kit, you will have some screws, bolt and nut. You don't actually need them. You can use them, but in the vent opener package, you add the 4 screws. They are stainless steel. So if you want to keep the same kind of screws that all your greenhouse use, it's better to use better to use the screws that are provided by BC Greenhouse that are in the vent package. We install an MK7 with the control knob at the bottom. This is the bottom part and the upper part. We're gonna now screw the MK7 to the structure of the greenhouse, 2 screws on the greenhouse frame and 2 screws in the roof vent. These all are already pre-made in the greenhouse structure in the middle of the roof vent. So we can first install the upper part of the MK7. If you use your head, like me, to keep the roof vent open, make sure you don't break the polycarbonate. It's quite resistant, but just want to do it gently and go carefully. You don't want to break your brand new greenhouse. Now fit the opener here. And try to make the plate, MK7 plate, flat. If you're two, it's always better. One hold the roof vent, the other one's screw. Turn the screw. And it can make more easily the adjustment. Screw it tight. Then place it back. Let's go slowly. Make sure you can position perfectly here to the greenhouse carefully. We're going to align the holes here, the greenhouse frame. Same thing here. Use stainless steel screw. For a better adjustment of your roof vent mechanism, the hole in the greenhouse frame and in the mechanism are made so you can slide it just a little bit to make your alignment better. So don't hesitate to align properly your mechanism so it work and open close smoothly. If your opening mechanism is not properly aligned, you just need to reposition the roof vent. Maybe it's off a little bit. As you can see, even if there's a screw on top of it, on top of the greenhouse on the ridge, the roof vent can be off center a little bit. So just replace it and recenter the mechanism. So you can adjust here the control knob here, the adjustment knob, to decide if you want the roof vent to open to an higher angle, larger opening, or a smaller opening, depending of the temperature you want to keep in the greenhouse. Mostly when it's a cold period, you just want when the temperature in the greenhouse get a little bit hot, to have just a little bit of fresh air coming in to refresh your plants, or vegetable. You keep it at a very small angle, small opening, but when it's very hot, you open your vent at the maximum. In northern climate country, it's important if you have a lot of snow or ice that accumulate on your roof to disengage the roof vent opener during winter because on sunny day the water in the greenhouse can get a little bit higher, and if the roof vent try to open and if snow or ice prevent the roof vent from opening, the wax will continue to take spaces, and if it cannot expand, the piston will blow and break your opener. So you need to deactivate the opener during winter when the roof vent cannot be used. So to do that, you just completely unscrew the control knob and place it back at the springtime.